Hello, everybody, and welcome into Bad for Baseball, the baddest baseball podcast on the internet, presented to you by Betway. I'm your host, Nicholas Playlog, joined alongside by Adam Peddle. Today, guys, we're talking Houston Astros. They had a lot of big changes happen this offseason, lost a lot of their key guys that have been with that team for a long period of time, gained a lot of guys as well. What are they going to look like in 2025? Are they still going to win that division like they do effectively every year? Or is it time for a new king of the AL West? We're going to break down their over, their under, everything that they did. Before we do, please make sure to hit that like, smash that subscribe button, and let us know your thoughts about all this in the comments down below. Let's flash on over to their Fangraphs page right now and walk us through a little bit about some of their offseason moves, because they were plentiful.
Yeah, it's interesting. It feels like the Houston Astros are going through a window change right now. It feels like when they make a big trade away, like Kyle Tucker, it feels like they're ready to move on and replace him with some other guys. But here are all the guys they lost via just the free agency. Alex Bregman, longtime Astro, World Series champion. He's gone. He's on the Boston Red Sox. Yusei Kikuchi, who they traded for last year from the Toronto Blue Jays, he's no longer there. He's gone. Jason Hayward, the bench guy. Justin Verlander, longtime Astro, he's gone as well. Caleb Ferguson, Hector Norris, some bullpen depth right there. They're all gone. Ben Gamble off the bench is gone. Aledmus Diaz, longtime Astro, he's not signed right now. Jose Abreu, you probably were going to be gone regardless, so I'm not shocked to see him not signed.
Actually, good thing about Ben Gamble is he is back.
Oh, he is back.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Okay, well, there you go. Off the bench, Ben Gamble. And then you've got Kendall Graveman. He's over there in Arizona. And Jose Urquidy is over there with the Detroit Tigers. Lots of guys out. And that's not even including, like I just mentioned, Kyle Tucker. He gone. He's over to the Chicago Cubs. They send him along, as well as Ryan Presley, their longtime closer before Josh Hader got there. That's a lot of guys leaving. And like a lot of legit guys. Like Bregman, we know how good he's been. He got paid big time. Kikuchi was a solid depth guy. Lots of guys in that bullpen in the rotation. Is this a lot? Like, how the hell are they going to replace all this?
Well, I do think specifically Alex Bregman and Kyle Tucker are the big ones here. I mean, like, there's certainly, Hector Neris and, some
Presley
of the bullpen
too.
guys.
Presley,
like Presley, yeah, like, definitely some names in there that are big. But, like, Bregman winning a Gold Glove over there at third, like, being your lockdown third baseman for, years at this point, he's gone. And then obviously Kyle Tucker, who, effectively, like the second that, you lost George Springer, Kyle Tucker kind of came in and I was the new, like, power hitting outfielder that you have there.
And I could steal, too.
And he could steal, like, probably a better George Springer, honestly. So, like, him and Bregman leaving, like, huge for the defense, huge for the offense, huge for all of it. However, they did try to supplement some of those losses a little bit. And some of the big ones here include Isaac Paredes coming in, going to be their third baseman, primary third baseman, and then Christian Walker, their first baseman. And Christian Walker is somebody that we wanted to highlight quite a bit here because he is definitely a quality player. Now, he is 34 years old, or going to be 34 years old at the beginning of the season. But the last 3 years of Christian Walker, just quality,
Yeah, no, he's solid thumper, right? And they got him to a shorter term deal, so they're just looking to supplement a little bit of power in that lineup when you lost Kyle Tucker. And he's going to be a huge addition. Hell, I would want him on my team too. Then they go make a sneaky pickup and get Brendan Rodgers on a non-roster invite. He's had some decent years and showings there in Colorado, so let's see how much second base he plays now that Jose Altuve is moving to left field. And then you look over in that rotation, not a lot of changes. They did get a guy they traded from the Chicago Cubs, Hayden Wierenski. I think they might have came over there. I'm assuming he came over there either in the Ryan Presley deal or the Kyle Tucker deal. And not a lot to the bullpen. So the major changes were sending all those guys away, Kyle Tucker, Ryan Presley, supplementing a little bit offensively. Now, it's really tough to kind of pinpoint this Houston team. I mean, you could look at their track record and look at the organization and go, this is a team that knows how to win, this team that goes to the playoffs. I mean, there's some things that are always for certain. Death, taxes, and Houston Astros making the playoffs. It happens every single year. But when I look at all those guys leaving, it's kind of hard to really know what the identity is, like right here. Is this going to be the eighth highest ERA or eighth lowest, ERA in relief pitching, the ninth in starting pitching? Is this the 7th best in on-base percentage in the offense? There's a lot of moving pieces for me here, but for me, I always just go back to like, well, they still got quality players up and down the rotation, the lineup, and the bullpen too.
Houston is like let's face it, guys. They did it. They did it for many, many years, and it feels like the management and the ownership and everyone like that, they're kind of happy right now to just like ride it out, and they're still making moves to be semi-competitive. Like again, Christian Walker and Isaac Brady's like these are big time moves, right? But I also don't think that they're necessarily willing to break the bank for it. Like
they've never been.
And it just feels like the the desire, not that the desire's not there, but it's like they're not feeling the heat or the pressure to go out and necessarily like have to go and win a World Series this year.
We've done it a bunch.
We've done it a bunch. We've satisfied. Like honestly, it's like if I'm the management, it's like all right, like let's sit back, kick our feet up, and make some money, boys. And it does kind of feel like that's the direction that Houston's going in. And even though they're still a hyper competitive ball team, they're slowly leaving the I guess juggernaut title, as you will, and giving that over to the Yankees and the Dodgers and others.
Yeah, it's I want to talk about this on this podcast. Are you surprised that they traded away Kyle Tucker with 1 year remaining? Like, because you're right, they're kind of kicking their feet back. The right thing to do would be, okay, if we don't think we're going to sign this guy back, trade him right now. But there's also the other element of it's Kyle effing Tucker, and he's going to elevate your ball team to a whole new level. I mean, look at the Cubs. We just talked about them recently, and they're a whole new ball team because of him. So are you surprised that they, knowing their history and how competitive they are, that they did that this early?
Yes and no. Because again, like scroll down to their pitching staff right there. Look at that. All Houston. All of it's Houston. I know that you got Hayden Wesneski in there, but like the main guys that matter are Houston. And then even when you look at their injured guys too, Houston, right? If they were healthy, look at all that, right? Christian Javier, Louis Garcia, Lance McCall. Like these are supposed to be guys. They're all Houston. Houston's done an incredible job at finding young dudes, developing young guys, all that stuff, not paying people other than Jose Altuve to a very, very long-term deal.
Jordan Alvarez. But they got him early.
They got him real nice and early, and on a one hell of a discount, let me tell you, right? Because if he was hitting free agency, he'd be right up there. I think that Houston is honestly like thinking to themselves, okay, we did it for a few years. We were the top dog. We've won a couple rings. We got a couple banners hung up. Let's be competitive, but also start to plan for our next window right now and start to think about all that. And honestly, like if I'm a Houston fan, I don't even hate it that much. Like, do you want to go all in for one final year with Kyle Tucker and then have to go through, years of pain? Or do you want to be in, still a competitive ball team, but also planning for the future, and then maybe 3-4 years later down the line, it's like, okay, now we got all the pieces together again. Now we're going to start our next window, and that's what I think Houston's trying to do right now.
Yeah, I think it's because you're right, because they had people there already. I mean, like when we look at let's break it down right here. When we look at the lineup,
it's like, still good.
It's still a good lineup. And yeah, you lose Kyle Tucker, and Kyle Tucker make this lineup one of the best in baseball, but it's still a good lineup. We talked about him. Jose Altuve had a nice renaissance year for him in his old age of 34.
He's never had a bad year, man.
Never had a bad. Actually, I think 1 year, but he was kind of hurt that 1 year. I forget which year that was. But Isaac Paredes, a little bit of a regression last year, 739. But he's going to be up there, going to be trying to get on base a bunch. We know about Jordan Alvarez, Christian Walker. We talked about those guys. Diaz has some sneaky upside. OPS last year 766. And then the rest of these guys, the beautiful thing about them, they play some darn good defense. Pena, I think he won a Gold Glove. He's like 2 years removed from winning a Gold Glove in his rookie season. Jake Myers, they have guys that they're okay with. That top half is going to bang. And I guess when I think about it from a Toronto Blue Jays fan standpoint, and everyone's talking about trade Vlad, you got 1 year left of him. Well, the difference here is if the Blue Jays traded Vlad, they're not competing next year. These guys are, because you still have a good lineup, and you also still have a very, very solid rotation. And dude, these guys came out of nowhere. Now I say nowhere because now they're kind of running this rotation right now. I'm talking about Hunter Brown. Ronel Blanco threw a no-hitter last year, granted cheating, so I don't know how much we put weight on that.
Right.
Spencer Arrighetti, he came out. Those are three guys that last year we were like, who are they? Are they going to become anyone?
Yeah, it happens every year, man.
And they did.
Every single year. And, to your point about Vladdy getting traded and Kyle Tucker, or Vladdy not getting traded, Kyle Tucker, I mean, the difference is there, too. Toronto Blue Jays management, if they trade Vladdy, they lose their jobs.
Yep.
These guys have won countless World Series. Like, they're so far in the good books, they could do anything, and it's totally fine, right? So, honestly, like, this to me is still a very, very good ball team. I don't know if they're going to win the division, but I do think that they're still going to be right up there in wins, which then brings us to their projected over-under line of 87.5. That if that was the line last year, they would have just hit the over with 88 wins. I'm going to say this. I think that they go over, but I don't know if they're going to win the division. So I can't guarantee that they're going to be a division winner, but I do think that they're going to be over 87.5 wins.
Yeah, I'm gonna also I think I predicted them to be 88 wins exactly, and actually win the division, because I'm thinking about the division. You got the Mariners. We just broke them down. If they need offense, and I don't feel confident that organization in getting any offense or developing anybody. And then you have the Rangers. I mean, those are kind of the only teams that really fight for that division, because then you got the A's and the Angels, of course, and we all know about those guys. A's might surprise a lot of people, but not winning the division. So for me, like, I still have them just pulling out a Houston Astros and finding a way to beat up on their division, win the thing with 88 wins. And I mean, in the past couple of years, like, they didn't have to like win a whole. They won the division last year with 88 wins. So like,
I know, yes. That is an anomaly, though.
Yeah, some years like that's what it takes. And again, like, it's the Rangers and the Mariners for me that are going to be the teams to look out for. If they can just take care of business, beat up on some other like weaker American League teams, 88 wins feels pretty safe for me.
Yeah, I like the over here, man. I just think that pitching staff is a bit too good, and the lineup is still really, really nice. And then, you get a couple free wins off LA every year. You get a couple free wins off of, A's, thank you. So, honestly, like, Houston, again, should be over 87.5 wins, should still be a hyper-competitive team, and are probably the favorites to win that division in 2025. But go ahead.
I was going to say, that it's crazy when you think about like them getting rid of Kyle Tucker, and they're still projected to land with the same.
And I will say that honestly, like, they're living a semi-life of luxury being in the division that they are in, because like, that's just not the case with, like, I don't know if okay, let me ask you this. Is Houston Astros the favorite to win the division in the AL Central, with the Tigers, with the Royals, with the Cleveland Guardians?
I think so. Yeah, for sure.
You think so?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, even the Guardians too. Like, I think we're gonna break them down eventually, but like, even them, like, you look at a lot of their pitching staff, and it's not like the threatening pitching staff it used to be. Like, they lost a lot of guys there. They lost Jimenez. They got rid of Josh Naylor. It's like, they lost a lot of pieces last year, and they didn't really add a whole lot. The bullpen's frigging phenomenal. I'll give them that. Best bullpen. Actually was the best bullpen in all of baseball, #1 last year. But, I mean, you put the Astros in there, and I think they're going to give them a run for their money.
They might. Okay, that's the difference, though. They might, in that division, I think it's a lot closer, especially with not having Kyle Tucker, right? Whereas, like, this division, it's like you went from the heavy favorites to now still the heavy favorites.
Yeah, they're still the favorites
in this division. So honestly, it's a life. And then honestly, you put them in the AL East too.
Yeah,
I don't think they are the favorites, right? So
yeah, like where do they rank in the AL East right now? Second, third.
Tough to know. We'll have to get to the win over unders of some of those other teams as well. But you guys let us know in the comments down below. Where do you have these Houston Astros finishing? Are they going to do it again like Adam and I are projecting? Over under 87.5.
Yeah, guys, hit that like button, subscribe to Bad for Baseball's YouTube channel, and we'll catch you guys next time.
Cheers.